Let's have a look here at this Islamic Q&A, a question and answer. I'll leave the link in the sidebar. Islamic question and a. I'm not saying Q&A. I'm not saying that all Islamics are into female genital mutilation any more than all Christians are into snake handling, but it's all a matter of faith, isn't it? Now, recently in Sydney, some people have been arrested and charged with female genital mutilation. And, of course, male genital mutilation is perfectly legal in Sydney, but female genital mutilation, if it's done, if it's alleged, the sex crime squad will be dragged out. So, let's just have a little non-sexist look at female genital mutilation. Now, which is sexism? Is sexism mutilating boys and not mutilating girls, or is sexism not mutilating girls but allowing boys to be mutilated, Praise be to Allah. Just as Allah has created mankind, He has also guided them that which is best suited to their interests in this world and in the hereafter. So He sent them messengers and revealed books to guide mankind to what is good and urge them to follow it, and to teach them what is evil and warn them against it. Islam may enjoin or forbid something, and the people, or most of them, may not be able to see the wisdom behind this command or prohibition. Let's just read that sentence again. Islam may enjoin or forbid something, and the people, or most of them, may not be able to see the wisdom behind this command or prohibition. In that case, we are obliged to obey the command or heed the prohibition, and to have certain faith that the laws of Allah are all good, even if we cannot see the wisdom behind them. That is, ours is not to question, is it? It's not to question. Ours is not to question. Circumcision is one of the sunnahs of the feature. I hope I'm pronouncing all this right. Circumcision is one of the sunnahs of the feature, as is indicated by the words of the Prophet. Peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. Quotation here from the Prophet. The feature is 5 things, or 5 things are part of the feature. Circumcision, shaving the pubes, plucking the armpit hairs, cutting the nails, and trimming the moustache. Narrated by Al-Bukhari and Muslim. Undoubtedly, with regard to the sunnahs of the feature, some of the wisdom behind them is obvious, and that includes circumcision. There are clear benefits to it, which we should pay attention to and understand the wisdom behind it. Yes, plucking the armpit hairs. Well, that could be a bit painful. I wonder if they're allowed to use wax like they use nowadays. In the answer to question number 9412, we have discussed circumcision, how it is to be done, and the ruling on it. In the answer to question number 7073, we have explained the health and shari benefits of circumcision for males. Here's the bit we want about females. Circumcision is prescribed for both males and females. They've got not proscribed, prescribed. Circumcision is prescribed for both males and females. The correct view is that circumcision is obligatory for males, and that it is one of the symbols of Islam, and that circumcision of women is mustahab, but not obligatory. That's interesting. It's one of the symbols of Islam, as in Judaism, I suppose. There are reports in the Sunnah which indicate that circumcision for women is prescribed in Islam. In Medina there was a woman who circumcised women, and the Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said to her, "Do not go to the extreme in cutting. That is better for the woman and more liked by the husband." Narrated by Abu Dawood, classed as Sahih by Sheikh Al-Albani in Sahih Abi Dawood. So, yes. So, the Prophet said, "Do not go to the extreme in cutting. That is better for the woman and more liked by the husband." So we don't go to the extreme when we're cutting females. We don't. Female circumcision has not been prescribed for no reason. Rather, there is wisdom behind it, and it brings many benefits. Now let's look at some of the benefits here, according to this Islamic Q&A website. Mentioning some of these benefits, Dr. Hamid Al-Gawabi says, quotations here, this is from a medical expert talking about all the benefits of female circumcision, just like there are all these medical experts that talk about the benefits of male circumcision, aren't there? Whether they be Islamic or Jewish or just secular sort of doctors and doctor experts. Anyway, this is an Islamic expert doctor talking about the benefits of female genital cutting here, female circumcision. The secretions of the labia minora accumulate in uncircumcised women and turn rancid, so they develop an unpleasant odor which may lead to infections of the vagina or urethra. I've seen many cases of sickness caused by the lack of circumcision. Well, he's a doctor. He should know. I think it's a he. Dr. Hamid Al-Gawabi. So circumcision there is a prophylactic, isn't it? It's a hygienic exercise. Female circumcision is, yes, it's good. It's good for the health. Circumcision reduces excessive sensitivity of the clitoris, which may cause it to increase in size to 3 centimeters when aroused, which is very annoying to the husband, especially at the time of intercourse. Well, I'm a virgin, so I wouldn't know anything about this. I just take it this doctor, this expert, Islamic doctor, is an expert. I'll just take his word for it, won't I? Circumcision, this is female circumcision, reduces excessive sensitivity of the clitoris. That's a bit like Maimonides in the Jewish tradition. He says that male circumcision reduces concupiscence in the male. So this basically is similar. This is reducing the excessive sensitivity of the clitoris. That's a bit like concupiscence in the female, isn't it? So you could be cutting out the concupiscence there. I'm not making any moral judgment about this. I'm just trying to understand it from a sexism point of view, whether it's sexist or non-sexist to be pro-female circumcision or anti-female circumcision. Another benefit of circumcision, if this is female circumcision, is that it prevents stimulation of the clitoris, which makes it grow large in such a manner that it causes pain. Well, we mustn't have that, must we? Circumcision prevents spasms of the clitoris, which are a kind of inflammation. Well, this Dr. Hamid Al-Gawabi must know. He must know. Circumcision reduces excessive sexual desire. Again, that's like Maimonides talking about circumcision in males, reducing concupiscence in men. Then Dr. Al-Gawabi refutes those who claim that female circumcision leads to frigidity by noting, here, I quote here, frigidity has many causes, and this claim is not based on any sound statistics comparing circumcised women with uncircumcised women, except in the case of pharaonic circumcision, which is where the clitoris is excised completely. This does in fact lead to frigidity. Well, there's some argument about that. There are some women have had the full would you call it Monty? Yes, and they claim to still have sexual feelings. This does in fact lead to frigidity, but it is contrary to the kind of circumcision enjoined by the Prophet of Mercy, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, when he said, do not destroy, do not uproot or excise. This alone is evidence that speaks for itself, because medicine at that time knew very little about this sensitive organ, the clitoris, and its nerves. That was from Liwa al-Islam magazine, issue 8 and 10, article entitled Khitan al-Banat, Circumcision of Girls. Now here we have another expert. This is an Islamic expert, and she's a gynecologist. So she should know whether female circumcision is good or not, shouldn't she? She should know. In Australia, we have all these medical doctors talking about the benefits of male circumcision, and here we have from somewhere else, we have a doctor talking about the benefits of female circumcision. The female gynecologist Seet al-Banat Khalid says in an article entitled Khitan al-Banat Ruya Sihiya, Female Circumcision from a Health Point of View. Here's the quote. Now, she's an expert and she must know. I mean, you know, she must know, mustn't she? She must. She's a gynecologist. She's been to university. She's obviously done surveys and experiments and research, hasn't she? For us in the Muslim world, female circumcision is, above all else, obedience to Islam, which means acting in accordance with the feature and following the sunnah which encourages it. We all know the dimensions of Islam, and that everything in it must be good in all aspects, including health aspects. That is, yes, everything about Islam must be medically, scientifically, ethically, and morally sound, mustn't it? If the benefits are not apparent now, they will become known in the future, as has happened with regard to male circumcision. So ours is not to question, is it? The world now knows its benefits, that's male circumcision, and it has become widespread among all nations, despite the opposition of some groups. I don't know that that's exactly true. I don't know that it is widespread among all nations. Then this is the female gynecologist, she mentioned some of the health benefits of female circumcision and said, it takes away excessive libido from women. Well, we can't have women having excessive libido, can we, any more than we can have males having excessive concupiscence, can we? We can't. It prevents unpleasant odors which result from foul secretions beneath the prepuce. Yes, women have prepuces too, it must be remembered, mustn't it? And of course it's well known that women produce more smegma than males do, because there's more surface area, isn't there? There's more surface area. So, in point of fact, women actually make more foul secretion than men do. To read further, it reduces the incidence of urinary tract infections. Well, that's one of the claims for male circumcision, isn't it? So, I mean, you know, the organs are analogous, aren't they, as they say? It reduces the incidence of urinary tract infections. So, it must be beneficial, and she's a gynecologist and she must know. It reduces the incidence of infections of the reproductive system. The quote ends there. In the Book of Traditions that Affect the Health of Women and Children, which was published by the World Health Organization in 1979, it says, and of course the World Health Organization is such a with it and not behind the times organization, isn't it? Yes. The World Health Organization 1979 says, with regard to the type of female circumcision which involves removal of the prepuce of the clitoris, which is similar, would be analogous, to male circumcision, no harmful health effects have been noted. So they're talking here not about the full clitoridectomy bit, they're talking just about removing the female clitoral hood by the sounds, and as far as I recall, there are less nerve endings in the clitoral hood than there are in the male foreskin. So if you compare the two operations, you're actually taking away more nerve endings from a male, aren't you? Than you would be taking from a female, where there are more nerve endings in the clitoris part itself. And it closes here at Islam Q&A by saying, and Allah knows best. So obviously, ours is not to question. Ours is not to question. So, if you think about it, why in Australia are people who perform female circumcision, well, alleged to have performed female circumcision, why are they being arrested and chased by the sex crime squad? Why is male circumcision not considered a sex crime? Now, if we look at it from a non-sexist point of view, why are it's a matter of faith, isn't it? It's a matter of faith for some people to circumcise their sons. So, surely it can be a matter of faith for some people to circumcise their daughters. To allow one gender to circumcise their sons, to allow one gender to be circumcised and not the other, sounds to me like sexism. And yes, if you think about it, the Minister for Child Protection in New South Wales was also a former Sex Discrimination Commissioner. So she should be well aware that there's some sort of sexism going on here. One gender is allowed to do something, one gender is allowed to have something done to it, and the other gender is not allowed to have something done to it of an analogous operation. One gender is allowed to be circumcised by law in New South Wales, and one isn't. What does the Minister for Child Protection say about that? Apparently, male children are allowed to be treated one way, and female children are not allowed to be treated that way. I'd call that sexism. That's sexism, isn't it? So, if I had a daughter and I were Islamic and I wanted to circumcise my daughter, and had I gone ahead and done it, this is all just for conjecture's sake, of course. If I were Islamic and I had a daughter and I had circumcised her, and if I were being prosecuted by the New South Wales Sex Crime Squad, I think I should take the matter to the Human Rights and Equal Opportunity Commission and the Federal Sex Discrimination Commissioner's office, because I'm being discriminated against on grounds of gender, even if there is federal law that says that circumcising females is against federal law. The fact is, the federal law itself is discriminatory. It's discriminatory. One should have a good case to challenge the laws against female circumcision in the highest court. And if one didn't succeed there, one could go to the what's the high court in Britain called? The head of the Commonwealth. One could go there. And if one didn't succeed there, one should be able to go to the International Court of Human Rights. We're all going to be treated equally in Australia. We are. We are. I'll put a link in the sidebar for these notes about Islam Q&A. I'm not making any moral decisions here about this paper that I've just read. I'm only interested here in sexism. I'm not talking about, the moral aspects of circumcision. I'm not even talking about whether circumcision is right or wrong. I'm just looking at a matter of sexism and how the genital cutting laws in Australia appear to be sexist. See you for now.